Very good evening from the sports desk. Tributes are pouring in from the golfing world, that is, after the passing of John Bland. The legendary South African golfer died this morning at a hospital in George after losing his battle with cancer. Now, joining us to talk about the 77-year-old's legacy is Selwyn Nathan, who is the Sunshine Tour's executive director. A very good evening to you, Mr. Nathan. Thank you so much for your time. Now, when you talk South African golfing legends, right, most recently you will think Ernie Els. When you take it a couple decades further, you'll think Gary Player. But those are not the only people who've been flying South Africa's flag on the course over the many decades that this game has been popular in this country. There is also a man called John Bland, a man who's sitting with more than 30 titles to his name. For those who may not know him, those who perhaps are jumping onto the golf bandwagon today, who is John Bland?
Well, John Bland is a real South African. He was brought up on a golf course in the course called Irene, just outside of the old halfway house. John's dad was a greenkeeper at the golf course, at Irene Golf Course. He was related to the game for a very, very long time. His father brought him into the game, and his brother. A most fantastic family that were involved in the game for at least, since I've been around, so at least 60 years. And John represented South Africa. Every week he played not only for himself, but he also played for his country. And a most magnificent man, and a great credit to the game of golf in South Africa.
You were with him at the beginning of it all, when it all started. You know, I mean, he did turn professional in 1969, and you had the pleasure of being able to watch him as he did his thing at the start of the career, before the greatness that is now Bland, that we speak of today, became what he was. I mean, just, you talk about how passionate he was about not only playing for himself and because of his passion for the game, but also playing for his country. You know, we don't have a lot of that anymore in this day and age, patriotism. Just talk to us about just his early days, you know, how he managed to become...
Look, John played on all the tours. He played on the Sunshine Tour, which he had an amazing record. He played on the European Tour. He played, I think, in half a dozen majors where he made a cut in a few, made a bit of money in others. But where he really did well was when he got to the seniors tour in America. And he really excelled there and made a real name for himself and also made a bit of money. You know, I'll just tell you one story. I played with him last year during a week at the Dunny, at the Dimension Data tournament in Fancourt. And I saw him, at 74 years old, playing with this old beaten-up putter. And I asked him, I said, you know, how come you're still using that old piece of rubbish? He says, oh, you mean this $15 million putter? And then I understood what he meant. So, you know, it's not that John was tight or anything like that. He just had so much respect for the equipment that he was using and how well he had played with it. And he respected the game so much. And he respected other players and the people, not only in his generation, but every tournament we went to in the Eastern Cape, you would find John coming to the tournament and being in the sponsors area and talking to the players and going out and watching young players play. So he was, I'd say, from the 60s right through till when he stopped playing a few years ago. I think he was a real contributor to the game of golf in South Africa, and I'm sure that many, many players that came after him learned from his ability and his skills and how to behave. And it's another reason why I think that South Africans are so respected around the world for their behavior.
Mr. Nathan, you say that he respected the game, particularly in this country. You say that even long after his professional career, he still was available to those that came after him, the generations that came after him. But did the game respect him? Did South African sport respect him? Did he get the love that he deserved even long after his professional career? Or are we now only showing him the love now that he's gone?
No, I think from a golf perspective, most golfers that knew of John Bland respected his contribution to our game. And, from a one professional, and I might not be a professional golfer anymore, but I am a professional administrator in the game of golf in South Africa. And I think that John's contribution and his generation's contribution to the game of golf in South Africa is part of the legacy that we've got, the same as what Gary and Harold and Bobby Locke and so many other great players that are not around anymore contributed to. But as far as John's contribution, his contribution to the game, I think was enormous. And I think the legacy that he'll leave on so many young players that had the opportunity to meet him and to play with him and to see the skill that this little guy had was quite amazing. And he's a great loss to the game, and he's a great loss to the golfing community because of the contribution that he not only made on the golf course, but the contribution that he made off the golf course.
Mr. Selwyn Nathan, thank you so much for joining us. And to you as his friend, condolences to you. May you find healing during this time of his loss. Thank you so much. That is the Sunshine Tour Executive Director, Selwyn Nathan, just paying tribute to a friend, a South African golf legend, that being John Bland. And of course, I extend my condolences as well to the Bland family. That's where we leave it from the sports desk for now.